Welcome, everyone. You see my face. You know it's time for another episode of Bumpin' and Thumpin', your podcast featuring everything about four independent wrestling from around the world. And this guest today is the most restricted and probably shadow banned person that I see on Facebook. I don't know why, but when probably after this episode, you might understand. But this guest today, he needs no laurels given to him because he was born with his own. He is that once in a lifetime generation of individual. He's the number one contender for the GOAT title. He's one half of the Spirit of Detroit. And he is standing out and at the top of both Superior Championship and City Championship Wrestling. We welcome to the podcast today my friend JONTAE KEITH. And when we come back after a break from our sponsors, we will welcome JONTAE on the episode. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jay Aubrey Jackson, the $50 computer virus guy in Metro Detroit. We are the home of the true flat $50 computer repair. $50 job no matter how long it takes, never a penny more. Netbooks, laptops, desktop towers, all-in-one computers, phones, iPhones, tablets, iPads, and game systems. Free diagnosis and money-back guarantee. If we don't fix it, you pay nothing. And we do same-day service within 24 hours of drop-off. And are open 7 days a week, so come to the computer virus guy now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about four independent wrestling from around the world. I'm Annie. JONTAE, welcome. Thank you for taking the time in your busy life to sit down with me today. How are you feeling?
I'm blessed, man. I'm always blessed when I get a chance to chop it up with y'all. Well, this is my first time being on your show, but, we know each other personally, you know what I mean? So it's always good to see you, Annie, for sure.
And before I met you, I was like, I saw what you were posting out on Facebook for a while before I actually got the chance to be acquainted with you. And like when someone pops on my radar like that, there's a reason. I'm either going to really like hit it off with this person, or there's a reason why I'm being, they're being put on my radar. And
Sure.
like it's been nothing short of a blessing. You are a luminary, I feel like, which could be a really dark part in the world. And I just really appreciate your insights that you so freely speak, because you get a lot of pushback, and
Sure.
you are resistant to it. And in fact, I feel like it just motivates you even more. So I love that.
It does.
So I feel like you've been wrestling about half of your life now. Is this true?
Mm-hmm. I've been wrestling since I was 15, literally since I was 15 years old. And by the grace of God, I found wrestling because I was about to be in trouble doing all kinds of stuff that I shouldn't be doing, But wrestling is kind of like what Mike Tyson was going through. When Mike Tyson found boxing, I found wrestling. It kept me out of trouble. It changed like a lot of things that was going on in my life. So I always like wrestling. To me is like everything. You know what I mean? For sure.
Like just hearing your short description from where you started, like you have this deep-seated respect for something that completely changed how you started out. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was one of those kids. Well, we in the same generation, so we both millennials. But I felt I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what I wanted to do. School for me was like we didn't get along because I didn't get along with the teachers and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? I was always one of those ones that was like, I would question certain things. If you question certain things, they'll look at you a certain way and be like, well, why would you ask that? I'm like, because I want to know. It don't make sense to me. Like, that's why I asked. But because I was like that, they kind of pushed me to the side, and that kind of broke my confidence in a way. It kind of like was like, dang, like the teachers don't mess with me. What am I going to do with my life? I don't even know what I'm about to do. So wrestling was one of those things that I always kind of had in the back of my mind. Because I looked at it, was like, oh, this is lit, but it captured my imagination. Like that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to capture your imagination. It's supposed to hook you. And once it hooks you, you never come back from it. And that's what happened to me, for real. I got caught in a rabbit hole.
For sure. That's why we're both here. But is there like an isolated moment where you knew you wanted to have the life of a wrestler? When did that happen for you?
I used to say when I saw Jeff Hardy jump off the cage in Unforgiven 2000. But that was like when I was maybe about 22.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like it started for me when my mama first took me to my live show. Like my mama was like, "I'm gonna take you to a wrestling show," because she just peeped. Like I just started to watch wrestling a lot more.
Was she supportive of your venture into?
A little bit. Actually,
Cool.
no, not a little
Yeah.
bit, a lot.
Sure.
Because she wanted
Sure.
to. She was also wanted to be an entertainer. She wanted to be a singer. My mom wanted to sing
Yeah.
and whatnot. And for certain reasons on why she didn't follow that, she damn sure didn't want me to like not live my dream. She
Right.
like, I want you to go out there and do what you do. Find
Right.
yourself. You know. So that's what I did. Wrestling was one of those things that made me find myself even more. It's really why I'm so outspoken now, because wrestling gave me that voice. I didn't think I had a voice for a long time. It took me a long time to get to this point.
When did you find out that you do have a voice and it's effective and that people listen? When did that really
Mm,
crystallize for you?
that's kind of deep. Oh
I
man.
know. I'm gonna hit all the feels today,
Yeah,
Jontae.
facts. You are. I forgot who I was talking to. But when I started seeing people like react to me,
Yeah.
they started to like react to certain things I was doing. I was like, oh, okay, like, are you listening? So I
Yeah.
started to like kind of piece little things together, and I started to understand like you have a like manipulation can work in so many different ways. You could use it for good, you could use it for bad. So I'd
100%.
rather just go ahead and just, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it the right way. I'm gonna manipulate you into how to feel where I'm coming from, but it's coming from a genuine place. Like I'm not trying to, I don't
Right.
wish no ill on nobody or nothing like that. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna give you all of me, and I'm gonna let you accept me for like how you want to. You don't have to. If you don't, that's cool. But if you do, let's go on this ride. You know what I'm saying? I got a story to tell you because there's a lot of pain where I wrestle. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pain in this.
And you are one of the most effective examples of really getting people to react for me because I've seen some people while sitting in the crowd
Yeah,
negatively react to
for
you.
sure. For
But
sure.
but that means they're alive. You
Yeah.
connect whether they love you or they hate you. You sparked something in them to feel.
Hmm.
So that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand about you, but they really should. Okay, so we tossed the GOAT term around a lot. So would you take a moment to define what that means to you and maybe who you think is a GOAT inside and outside of wrestling?
Now, as far as like wrestling goes, the GOAT, I mean, I'm always
Any,
say myself because,
yeah,
I feel like I'm the
absolutely.
GOAT. Yeah.
That was
But,
my next question, actually.
yeah, I feel like, but what really, oh man, we're going to get deep
We
because
are.
what really classifies you as a GOAT
Hmm.
in pro wrestling, in my opinion, is it's not about the moves and stuff like that. It's about the drawing power that you got. And this is like a lost art too, because in the independents, nobody really caters to this side of the business. It's all, well, if you can just go in there and you can just show your moves and stuff like that, people will react to that. Not no. No, that's more of a personal thing because you grew up watching wrestling your whole life, so you have to fulfill your inner child by doing the swanton off the tower. I know because I've done it. I've been in those positions. You know what I'm saying? Like I know. Like that's real. You know what I
No,
mean? But that's
no.
not how this works, bro.
Right, right.
It really depends on like what you do for the business. Like that's the goats are like Austin and Rock because they shifted it. You know what I'm saying? It's the difference between doing good business for the business and doing good business for you. And that's what's going on in the
Hmm.
indies. They're doing good business for themselves, but how does that? I was just at work, right?
Hmm.
Nobody even knows what the hell is going on in wrestling no more. And there's a reason for that because there's no connection. No, there's no. It's like the music industry right now. It's
Mm.
crumbling.
It really is.
Everything is crumbling right now in front of our eyes because
So how do
there's
we
nothing
make
you can
them
gravitate
care?
to.
How do we make these people who don't care do? And we can't make people do anything that they don't want to do. So how do we
Right.
bridge that gap if we can't?
That's you see that's the thing. You have to find that on your own. I had to find that on my own. I had to go
Hmm.
out there and figure it out. Just you got to read the room. You know what I'm saying? That's why like the perfect example on how I wrestle is I know my audience. I know who I'm performing in front of. If I'm performing in front of people that's never seen wrestling before, I'm not about to go out there and do a whole bunch of indie wrestling moves
that
they don't know about. They don't care.
Right.
They want to see my personality, because the casual fan, like myself, I'm still a casual fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I know what I like in my wrestling. I like to see people actually mad at each other, laying their stuff in, and I want to see like some good work the audience, like make the people feel like they're there. You know what I mean? And that's always been my thing. And that's how you get people, is you really have to connect with them on a deeper level. Because I remember when I went to my first show and I saw Eddie Guerrero live, and it wasn't even the fact, I was always a fan of Eddie Guerrero, but I didn't understand why I was a fan of Eddie Guerrero until I saw it. The dude had so much, he didn't do anything. He came out with his lowrider, whatnot, and the fans were just going crazy for him. They love Eddie Guerrero. They loved him. This dude from Texas. This was in like Adrian, Michigan somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's craziness. There's a connection that he has with those people somewhere. It's just like when Michael Jackson stood and said nothing for 5 minutes and had people fainting. You know what I mean? Like, those type of connections, you either have it or you don't. You can't teach reaction. You either it's just there. You know what I mean? It's really just there.
Do you think that that is something that is inherent, that people are born with, that they learn?
Or what?
They find like that magnetism that makes Michael Jackson, like, people faint for not speaking for 5 minutes? Or do you think
on a deeper level, it's kind of like, that's why you can't put your idols, you know what I mean? Like, they idolize them to the point where that's when you fall out. That's a little crazy to me. If you falling out over a person, because it's still a human being up there. Like, come on now. Like, but it's that connection that he made. It maybe one of them songs connected to him so far back then, and it's to the point where now they seeing him live, they can't believe it. They like, what the hell? You know what I mean? That feeling is missing. And I try to really get that back when I wrestle, because I mean, it's no point in me going out there to perform in front of everybody if I'm just out there just wrestling for myself. And why am I doing that?
I mean, it is a collaborative effort.
For sure.
Like, you don't wrestle with yourself in a match. I mean, you could, but
you could, but you're gonna look crazy. All the hardcore fans would be there. They'd be like, "Oh, that was great. That was a hell of a move. Like, I like that. See, he can work with a broomstick. He can work with a knife." But the casual fan would be like, "This is the fakest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Where's the other person? Why are you just falling by yourself?" You know, you gotta know your people. And I was a huge mark. You know what I'm saying? I was a huge mark. I had to unlearn some things. I had to go out and fall on my head a few times and be like, "That was stupid. Why would you do that?" You're not connecting because you're not doing anything to make them feel anything.
And you know what? Through those mistakes and through the changes you've made, you are the refined person that you are now. And I just love that about your journey. So we have so much more to talk about, but first we will take a break and we will have a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with JONTAE KEITH. Back everyone to Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. JONTAE, we really started cooking in that first half, so let's get ready to serve the entree. So,
snap!
I know, right? You have a long-seated history with a certain human by the name of Lance Starr.
Yeah.
So you have considered him a friend, a mentor. You credit him with being present through so much of your career. So there was one video where I saw you both sat down and you watched the highlights of the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. So I thought that was something that was really interesting in your storyline. Was there a reason why you both were watching that match and what it meant? Did it have a significance?
For sure. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit.
Yes, please.
Let's pull the curtain back. All right.
Yes.
Me and Lance, low key, we started wrestling literally like 2 weeks apart.
No way.
I'm dead ass. Like, he started wrestling like because I came in 2010, and it was literally like that weekend. I forgot, but it's so long ago. But yeah, it was like 2 weeks apart and whatnot. And the little yard fair that we was at first, he was the champ. He was the man there, you know. And granted, these dudes was already like old, you know, and they was like 20 something. I came in as a young buck. I'm like 15, rambunctious, no, I'm ready to go. I'm like, I'm F school, like I'm ready to do what I want to do, you know. So they all kind of like just kind of took me under their wing and was like, we're gonna like make sure that this kid is like, because he got a lot of talent. You can see the potential, and we don't want him to be out here doing anything crazy. And I respect them for that. You know, they kept me out of trouble. But the reason why we was watching that match though, because we both like Shawn Michaels. Like that was our favorite wrestler. When we talked to each other, whatever. He was like, "Who's your favorite wrestler right now?" I'm like, "Man, it's HBK." He was like, "Get out of here!" Like my wrestler is HBK. So it was an instant connection, like right there. And we thought if we can put all that into the story, because we want to make his storyline as personal as possible. You know what I mean? Just to get people to be invested. Because the more invested that you are, you know, like that's my, like this is all business. So we looked at it and was like, how can we incorporate our real life, everything that we do, and just put it in wrestling? And that's what we did.
I mean, and it's no secret that Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, they are two of the greats, but they hate each other. So what kind of stuff did you pull out from that connection, and how did you implement it?
Well, yeah, what we did was, I'm pulling back the curtain again. So, all right, we made a little tribute to Shawn Michaels and actually Stone Cold at the King of the Ring, and we did like a little side by side. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a side by side where we literally did like they spot move for move and stuff like that, and it's just like telling that story that we got the same influences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the more that we show that side of us, the more people can relate to that, because people don't really show who they was influenced by like that, or plan their matches out like that for real. Like I feel like anyway, you know what I mean? So we wanted to just make it feel as if like, let's just put all of us in this. Shawn, us, everybody, everything that made us us, let's put into this match and see where it goes.
I mean, like, so much of wrestling mimics what's happening in real life.
Sure.
So just the fact that you and Lance decided to base this huge storyline off something like real and tangible was critical. I mean, so a short while after this, was it the #1 contender match at CCW where you turned on him?
Yeah, I end up turning on him because I'm a prick in real life. You know what I mean? You know, I don't like people. So.
Why? What led to this decision making? I mean, you called him a friend, a mentor. He was there for you. He was present for you so much in your career.
Because for some reason, you know, this is a real thing too, though. Because I kind of struggle with this. For some reason, people think that even in the bin, they think that Lance like actually like just did everything for me. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he didn't, because outside of wrestling, man, this dude, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I got more stories on that. But in wrestling, like, let's just be honest. Like when it comes to this, like this whole thing, like I've done this. You know what I mean? I had to go and make a name for myself early because I got kicked out of Michigan. I got blackballed early for just existing. You know what I mean? So I was kind of forced to go out there to make a little name for myself. So I did all that. You know what I mean? That Lance ain't had nothing to do with that. So it's kind of a personal thing for me to go out there and show folks like, yo, like I'm still JONTAE. You know what I'm saying? It's still me you talking about.
My next question. I mean, just because you two are so close in proximity, especially where you started, it doesn't mean that he created you. You're still your own entity. Yes, you both pull each other through lots of things. You both share a lot of stories together, but that doesn't correlation doesn't prove causation.
Facts.
So I could see why you would have a lot of the responses that you do. Like it's all right there laid out on the table. Um, so when you went head to head with Lance again at the 3rd anniversary show at CCW,
Yeah.
what was going through your brain as you were about to hit the curtain and you were about to come face to face with Lance again?
I hope that this goes the way that I need to go, because I need a reaction. But honestly, I still get nervous when it comes to matches, but I don't be as nervous because I know what I'm going to do. And my response is I respond to how the people respond. If they like it, great. And that's how I know we did good business, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we really want, is good business. This is what I was talking about before. Like, a lot of folks be like, man, let's just go out there. Let's just wrestle. You know what I'm saying? Let's just do this. But how is that going to elevate the bit? Like, how is that going to put, a different light on the business for real? Because I really think about that. I really think about this. That stuff kind of low key keep me up at night. Like, you should be like, man, dog, go to bed. I'd be like, nah, I'm stressed out. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to figure out what's going on with this business. Why everybody be out here? She like, I'm going to sleep then. You do what you you do what you do, you figure it out. But I really be like, yo, if we can make an effort to make this business better, that's just gonna make everybody else life that much easier, because they got somewhere else to work. You know what I'm saying? With it's generating good money, so everybody eating. You feel me? So that's how I'm looking at it, because I want everybody that's in the business to be in the business to actually be eating for real. It doesn't have to be, if I am the guy that miraculously get over or whatever by everybody, I just end up getting super popular and stuff like that. That's great, because that means everybody else can eat. But even if it's not me, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's not me that gets super over and gets super popular and the people are clamoring to see, that's a good thing. I'm happy for him, because he the meal ticket.
And just because you don't get over in a traditional sense, he couldn't have accomplished that without you. He
Right.
needs your essence to, be triggered. He needs you provide the obstacle for that other person to overcome.
Sure.
Like without that heat, where's the shine? Where's the comeback?
Exactly.
If you don't have something like antagonizing you, then why are people going to show up? Why are people going to buy a ticket?
Exactly. And also folks need to believe in somebody. They need to believe in a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? They need to, not just a bad guy, but people in general. If you're in the business, you got to be believable. You have to. So if I'm sitting here and I'm saying that I'm the best in the world, I'm gonna show you I'm the best in the world. I'm gonna show you that, and then you can either, yeah, he's the best in the world, or he's not the best in the world. Either way it go, you're talking, you're saying something. You know what I'm saying? Something in your brain is gonna be like, I want to see the outcome of this, because I need to know what's to him.
And you know what? There are people who talk and people who do. You do both.
Right.
And you back it up. Like
Right.
that's something that's just and like you don't do things that aren't you. You don't try to be anyone else but JONTAE.
Yeah.
And
Because
I
that's
think
literally all I can be. I can't be nobody. Everybody else is taken. You feel me?
and we can see the imposters. We know who is we know like we can tell. We can tell. It's
Mm-hmm.
not hard to pick out.
They weed themselves out so fast because they don't know. They just don't understand. You know what I mean? They don't understand. And I get it, because I didn't understand. You got to unlearn things for real. But you have to be willing to unlearn things too, though. If you ain't willing to do it, you're not going to do it.
I agree with you.
You just not going to do it. If you want to sit here and be just another guy for real, then hey, you going to still have the same mentality. That's why you see the difference in mentality. You got the indie mentality and you got the business mentality. You know what I mean? It's a whole different ball game when you start thinking more business minded on things than just being a mark.
And it's sometimes I feel like it's a fine line and that line becomes blurred even more day by day.
Mm-hmm. But I love to blur the lines though.
I know you do. I know you and you're just so good at it though.
Because that's how it's supposed to be. Honestly, sorry, but that's how it's supposed to be. When I was taught, when I actually got smartened up to the business, I'll tell you this: when I really got smartened up, they always told me to protect it. You protect the business, because there's a lot of guys that came before us that was this is how they made their livelihood. You know what I mean? This is what they used to do. and they went through a lot of lengths to keep the art alive. And to keep the art alive is to keep it closed in. So if you're not in the bubble, that's why wrestling is a bubble type thing, because it was also like, all right, we got to make sure this is how folks really make their livelihood. So if anybody out here saying like that looks fake, you getting your ass whooped, because nothing that needs to be looking fake right now. Bro, I got thousands of dollars on the line right now. If your punches is this, I swear, yeah, that shit better look. I'm sorry, that stuff better look. That stuff better look like you just knocked his head off, because that it's always gonna be that one fan that be like, that was fake. I knew it. See, it's fake. They looking for it. So when I understood that, I was like, okay, let me just make sure I'm always crisp, and whatever I'm in, whatever role I'm in, that's where I'm at. I'm dedicated to it 100%. So if I'm out here and I gotta heal it up, best believe, I might start a riot.
I've seen it. He's not kidding, everyone. He's not kidding. But we will be right back after a word with our sponsors with JONTAE KEITH.
Let's go.
Everyone, to our final segment of Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about foreign independent wrestling from around the world. JONTAE, I don't know where this time has gone. Like, it feels like time is suspended whenever we actually get the chance to talk.
That's how it be when you having a real conversation. We just chopping it up. We not talking.
Really
I'm not. This is no. Well, my name is JONTAE, and I can't. It's not like that. We just chopping it up.
We're real people having real conversations.
Real conversation.
About things that we love.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you absolutely love about wrestling? What about it creatively? I can't talk today. Yeah. What brought you in? Thank you.
Well, all right, okay. Business aside, then, but creatively, I love it for if it's done right. You can, like I said before, like you can literally get hooked on it. You be like, dang, like how are these dudes able to do some of the stuff that they're doing? Because as a wrestler, you're literally everything. You know what I mean? You're an actor, you're a stuntman, you're a choreographer. You all types of things, because especially if you're in the WWE. The WWE in Hollywood are like this.
Really?
You know what I mean? They're like, Hollywood and WWE are like literally married at this point. Vince said that in the 80s. He was like, we're making movies, pal. He said that.
Maybe they shouldn't have made that one movie. That was horrible.
I think, yeah, with how Vince's life is going right now, let me stop. But yeah, I love the fact that you can get hooked on it just off of your favorite person. It's like your superhero coming to life. You know what I mean? Because I remember when I first saw, like I actually sat down and watched a match, and it was between who was it? No, it was Jeff Hardy. Literally Jeff Hardy again. Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam in Invasion 2001. And I just thought like it was amazing. I was like, this is crazy. I'm already in like what, 5th grade. I'm like, yo, it's crazy that they just doing what they want to do, and they make it look so effortlessly, and I fell in love with that. I definitely did. I was like, I want that magic. There's no way that you can be out here and make people feel like that. You know what I'm saying? How do you do it? And I figured out how to do it, and it's through emotion. They figured it out through emotion. So everything is a manipulative little thing. It's all manipulative, but you just have to be the right person to do it.
And like that's something I really put into my head before I go out. Like, how can I use the highest part of myself to get the reaction I want? Because I have a unique position where I am that liaison between what goes on in front of the curtain and behind. Like, I set the tone. So if I show up and I'm all in my feelings, like that's going to bleed through.
You know, that's kind of deep too, though, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to wrestle, like you just in my feelings. And
Yeah.
back in like 2017, that's why I say it's a lot of pain when I wrestle. It was pretty
Yeah.
2016 was probably one of the worst years I ever went through in my life. And instead of like mourning, instead of like, actually just going through it and getting my mental health right and stuff like that, I just focused on wrestling. All my matches was
Yeah.
just, you know, I'm gonna pour everything I got. I'm really going through this. The reason why I'm probably like all the crazy spots you didn't see me do is because I was really going through something in my
Yeah.
head. Like we always say, art imitates life a lot. That's what I was doing. I was really going through something. So if I feel like F it, I'm gonna just go all out in real life. What you think I'm gonna do in my match? You think I'm not about to go all out? And
All
I'm a
out.
performer at that? Come on, man.
You're
Like
gonna
that's a
take it to an
dangerous
even
thing.
higher level.
Exactly. So that's why you'll see me jumping off basketball rims and all this other ignorant stuff. And they'll be like, what is wrong with dude? I'm losing it. I'm literally losing my mind right now because you got real stuff going on right here that nobody's talking about. I got
Right.
this going on. I had death around me. I'm going crazy.
I mean, how many people actually get the opportunity when they're going through a real life hard time? Do they get to, jump off of a basketball hoop?
I mean, they'll probably do it, but they won't get back up.
Sure. That's true. That's true. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
They're not gonna get back up. They're gonna be like, I ain't doing that. But and that's just the performer in me too, though, because I always say that I was a real life artist too, because you just never know what can happen with me. It could be a riot. I can jump off of something, or I can just either way it go, you're gonna be on a ride, and that's what wrestling is, the roller coaster. It's a storytelling
What is it
situation.
about you that you think you can elicit such polarizing reactions to you? You can go from one extreme to the other. What about you is present for that to come through in other people?
I'm just honest with myself.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't honest with
That's so
themselves.
true.
They
I got
live in
chills, man. I got chills.
Yeah, for real. They're not honest with themselves. They go out and they get intimidated by people. I'm not, and I don't mean this to be a cocky, arrogant, whatever, because people already think that about me, but I'm not intimidated by anybody
But that's
because I've been
confidence,
through too
though.
much.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
confidence.
It's so much that I ain't been through that. What can you really like? Don't get me wrong. Like I'm always open to learn. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Because you never stop learning ever. You always, as soon as you wake up, I'm trying to learn something. But don't disrespect my experiences. You know what I mean? You can't disrespect what I ain't been through, what I ain't heard, and even you just can't. So I'm not intimidated by nobody, and the fact that I don't show those, the fact that I don't show that, it rubs people the wrong way, and be like, man, who he think he is? I can wear my scars freely because shit. What else I gonna do?
But those are your experiences. So
Yeah,
you screw yourself over when you don't know who you are, but when you know yourself for exactly who you are, like you get chastised for that too. So
yeah,
be your damn self.
yeah. People aren't centered. But it took me a while to get centered. That's why
Sure.
I'm not. I'm far from perfect, and I don't
Absolutely.
even try to be. I don't. When people sit here and try to hit me with holier than thou answers, I'm like, well, okay, so what are you doing then? That's so much better. You know what I mean? And they can't say nothing
Hmm.
because none of us we're not better than anybody. We all F up in our own different ways.
Hmm.
For real. Like I just F'd up earlier. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So it's like we all human, we all make our mistakes and whatnot, but I'm willing to go out there and make mistakes and fall on my face and be like, okay, I'll never do that again. And a lot of people don't want to do that. And that's
And
okay. It takes a while. You know what I
but
mean? You got to figure that out.
but that's critical to knowing who you are. You hold yourself with this real life accountability that's like, oh, you know what? I messed up. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna do better. But
Yeah.
like, people also misconstrue that true confidence as arrogance.
I've always went through it. Always, especially when I started wrestling, they just be
Yeah.
like, "He's so arrogant." I'm like, "How?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
what makes me arrogant? Because I'm willing to walk out and say whatever I want to say freely and live with the repercussions because you can't do that.
And that's so funny because human nature is interesting in the fact that we only live in our internal world. Like, and they project their insecurities onto you
For sure.
because you are a reflection. You make
Yeah.
them think. you bring their consciousness to who they truly are. And there is a huge incongruence in comparison to when someone knows who they are, like you, and someone who they're still trying to grow their spine.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's not.
It's a human experience.
Exactly. And that's what I think people they get that misconstrued too, because they be like, well, they just gonna look at me a certain way. Bro,
Who cares?
I don't care. I don't care. People gonna talk about me regardless. Right. They really are. The fact that I'm a wrestler. I remember when I was in 5th grade, I said, I'm gonna be a wrestler when I grow up. They were like, what? No. Right. They were like, what you mean by be a wrestler, bro? Stop with all that WWE stuff, man. He locked in already. I heard it all. But that don't mean nothing. And now look at me.
Listen, your whole life people try to tell you what to do, try to put you into a box, and guess what? Never's going to happen.
No,
never going to happen.
I can't be put in a box. Absolutely. My mind is first of all, my mind is always going 1,000 miles per hour.
Sure.
Like all the time, even when it's not wrestling related. It's just that I have this spirit where it's just like, man, even like beyond wrestling, I think I'm supposed to be out here doing other things like talking to somebody. I don't know. But if it wasn't for wrestling, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have found my voice for real. I used to be scared to be on the microphone. I used to be like, man, I'm not about to be on the microphone. What can I say? What they gonna? And then now I got it tatted on me.
That's so what I mean? Funny, because I could never I mean, you were there. Obviously, it was your lived experience, but I could never imagine that version of JONTAE ever existing. That's crazy. So, JONTAE, tell us what is coming up for you and what you're working on.
I'm working on a few things. Like my main companies I'm working on right now is what I'm working with. Is with Superior Championship Wrestling. That's where I got the problem with Father Marquise, the false prophet. I'm smack him upside his head a few times. You feel me? Alright, and it's a video of y'all should check that out. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty
I'll
funny.
link it in the episode.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I just posted a video. I had to put him and my uncle, had to slap them up a little bit. But also I got things going on with Lance. We really cooking over there. It's kind of like just who's about to be the best out of all this. And I'm like, I already know I'm the best. So hopefully Lance can, he can figure that out too. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now.
Besides the show that you will be on tonight after you're off this pod, where else can fans see you?
Unfortunately, I'm not even gonna be there. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna be at CCW this time. I already chopped it up with him.
Gotcha.
But yeah, people should still should go and tap in with them because they really got something cooking over there. Shout out to Paul. Paul is doing his thing. And I'm just grateful. That's my thing now. I'm really just grateful to just even be a part of wrestling still. I've been doing it for like 20-something years for real. So if you put me, I know, right? To be still just only 31.
And you're still coming into your own. Like you just constantly reinvent yourself. The JONTAE that I'm seeing right here isn't going to be the most updated version. Like you just, it's insane. You're just always updating, always learning. So,
was you a Dragon Ball Z fan growing up?
I was not. I didn't get into that.
You'll still get this example then. It's just like when you go Super Saiyan, it's levels to Super Saiyan. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3. You know what I'm saying? Then you got God mode. You got all types of levels. That in itself shows you that you can never stop learning. You never stop getting better. The more work you put in, the more effort you put in with yourself and try to get your stuff together mentally and physically, spiritually, all that, you'll never know what you can really accomplish for real.
I'm saying, I mean, you've seen where I started and you know where I am now. So,
yeah, you lit right now.
I know, like a freaking Christmas tree, bro. Like, dang, like, I know, like, we do the thing. Ascension is the goal.
A blessing, man. It's definitely a blessing to see where we both then came. Right. And I'm still doing my thing. I'm trying to stay out of trouble. But
But you just attract it. That's just I love that. That's one of my favorite things about you, though.
I love it. Appreciate that. I'm gonna keep doing my thing for sure. I'm gonna keep spreading the word because ain't nobody else gonna do it. They're gonna sit here and be like, man, they're gonna how it is.
There's no one like you, JONTAE, and there will never be another person like you.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, we have to wrap it up for another amazing episode of Bumping and Thumping. But before we do that, shout out to Mission Smith and his team from Ring Review Wrestling Podcast. They have provided so much content for the storylines over at CCW. They were amazing. So check them out on socials. Like, share, subscribe. Like to thank our friends at Trailways Transports for keeping the world moving while they are on the road. And lastly, our director Rachel and our producer Tony for what they do behind the scenes. And just thank you. And above all, thank you for watching this another amazing episode of with JONTAE and myself. This has been Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. We'll catch you next time.